Hi everyone, welcome to Quick Chapter. This is Quick Chapter on Chapter 1. What does citizenship mean to me? Before I begin, let me just point out that Quick Chapter series is just meant for a quick revision. It's not meant to replace your teacher's notes. So you still need to refer to your teacher's handouts. This lesson is really just if, let's say, you just need a quick revision before you enter the exam hall and you don't want to flip through stuff, you are a visual learner, you can refer to this, but please still pay attention in class. Now let's begin. We have 4 attributes of citizenship: legal status, a sense of identity, shared values, and civic participation. First attribute is legal status, which essentially is you saying that I'm a Singaporean because the government or the country says so. So this means that you have the documentation like birth certificate or passport to show that you are a citizen of the country. In Singapore, here are ways to become a Singaporean in Singapore. Firstly, by descent, a child requires at least one parent to be a citizen. Country of birth, if you're born in Singapore, but it's gonna tie into descent as well because one of your parents must be Singaporean. By marriage, you're married to a citizen of the country, but the spouse or the Singapore citizen needs to have minimum of 2 years PR, and you need to be married for at least 2 years. Or by naturalization, which is granted to those who have resided in Singapore for a number of years. So for example, in Singapore, you need a minimum 2 years PR in Singapore. Legal status grants rights because you are officially a citizen of the country. So this means that you are eligible to the freedom and privileges that citizens in the country have. Rights of citizens, which are usually laid out in the Constitution, are protected by law and should be respected by everyone in the country. In this case here, you realize that in every country, there's actually a Singapore embassy. So this is where the importance of legal status comes in. Because if you're overseas and something happens to you, if you're a citizen of a country, this is where your embassy will actually come in to help you. In Singapore, Singapore's Ministry of Foreign Affairs (MFA) will provide assistance to Singaporeans overseas. For example, if a Singaporean passed away overseas, MFA will advise the next of kin on the procedures in relation to funeral services, local cremation, and/or repatriation of the bodies. MFA will also assist in emergencies like natural disasters, civil unrest, or terrorist attacks. So the idea is that if you are a legal citizen of a country, the government will actually protect you and you're not alone if you're overseas. So this is why it's really very important to be seen, to have the official documentation to show that you're a member of a country. But of course, if you have legal status, it also means that you have obligations or duties to fulfill. This differs according to country. In Singapore, your obligation is national service for the men or for the boys and voting for everyone. Attribute 2, a sense of identity. Identity is how you perceive yourself and how you believe others perceive you. Now this is important because you can legally be a member of the country but have zero feelings about the country. So this is why it's really very common for us to hear fellow Singaporeans to say things like, I'm born here, but I don't feel Singaporean, or I hate being Singaporean, I want to migrate. So this shows that you can have legal status, but if you don't have a sense of identity, you still won't feel like a citizen of a country. People from the same country have a sense of national identity. This comes from a shared belief of connectedness to one another and belonging to a country. This can be shaped by common experiences, practices, and spaces. So for example, our hawker food, this kind of binds us together because it's something that everyone relates to. It's something that we all miss if we are working overseas or staying overseas very long. The fact that we are multiracial and multicultural is also a sense of identity for Singaporeans. Singaporeans can say that, oh, if I go anywhere in Singapore, I can see people of different races just anywhere chilling with their friends, with family members. It's really very common to just enter a public space and see people of different races there. Another example is also Singlish. For example, if you're overseas and you hear someone saying things with la, le, lo, immediately you know, that is a Singaporean. So just the recognition in itself is also a sense of identity. Attribute 3, shared values. Values are principles and beliefs that influence a person's attitudes, thinking, and behavior. Shared values refer to values that are embraced and seen as important by a group of people. These are shaped by factors such as country's history, heritage, and experiences. This can change over time as citizens respond to challenges faced by the country. So, for example, we see a lot of examples of Japanese people cleaning up after themselves after watching a match. But the fact that everyone does it showed that this is a shared value among all the Japanese people. You know, the whole idea of respecting spaces, being respectful, that is an example of a shared value among citizens of a country. So shared values may influence collective decision making and exercise of judgment. Why do the Japanese people, after attending a game, they all clean up after themselves? Because they all have the shared values of respecting space, cleaning up after themselves. Attribute 4, civic participation. So this refers to citizens taking part in public affairs. What are public affairs? Public affairs are matters of general interest or concern to most people in a country. Some people see civic participation as an important obligation they want to fulfill as citizens. So, for example, we have people who say that, oh, because no, I feel proud to be Singaporean. As a citizen of my country, I need to give back. I need to help make Singapore a better place because I'm living here, my loved ones are living here. I cannot just passively take things from the government. I need to contribute as well because the country cannot grow if I don't do something for the country. There are different categories. So, for example, individuals will participate by volunteering their time, effort, and money in matters they are concerned about. So, for example, for students in school, you take part in donation drives. Or maybe on your own, you love cats. So, you want to take time, feed cats in your neighborhood, take care of them. Some people participate in civic participation through informal groups. So, informal groups are when people organize themselves into informal community groups to address concern. They exist for a period of time. So, for example, if you think that, oh my god, there's a person attacking cats in the neighborhood, me and my couple of neighbors are going to do patrols just to make sure that we try to catch this person, right? That is just a specific concern. This group will exist just to address this issue for a short period of time. For students, you guys will experience VIA. So, for example, in my school, we have dance CCA teaching dance to K1 to K2 kids. Or maybe the school or your CCA will do beach cleanup, class go to visit old folks' home. So all of these are examples of how you also take part in civic participation through informal groups. Formal groups have clear objectives. They are officially registered with the government. They tend to last a little bit more longer because they cater to specific needs and interests of society, and they devote their efforts over a sustained period of time. So, for example, if you want to save the environment by reducing waste, you cannot just do it in a few months. You need a sustained period of time. So, Zero Waste Singapore is an example of a formal groups. In summary, there are 4 attributes of citizenship because what citizenship means to you may be different from other people. So just because you feel that, okay, having a sense of identity is the most important attribute of citizenship doesn't mean you kind of force it down other people's throat and say that, okay, everyone must feel the same way as me, because what citizenship means to you can change over time depending on your lived experiences, knowledge, and aspirations. So this is the end of Quick Chapters 1. I hope that this lesson has benefited you in some ways or another. Thank you.